because there is always this dilemma of if I am part of the community, I'm a believer, or I think that it should continue, or if it continues and I am a health provider who can help women at risk of that, I might not bother very much to do a lot of advocacy or a lot of learning or a lot of teaching or counseling or helping them, at least not to do it for their daughters. Mm-hmm. So the issue here is the health providers themselves need to be part of a whole package as part of the community, not as a separate group. So I don't take training for midwives, for instance, just as, let us train them on human rights, or let us train them on women's rights, or let us train them on how to reduce harm. That's not the issue. I think here the issue is how can we take health providers, women or not women, all health providers, as members of the community, not as a separate or secluded group, which we need to target,
Right.
So this is how I see it from a social perspective. And that's why when the change starts, if there is a change, they will be part of this change, and they will be part of the advocacy, part of the learning, part of the counseling, and part of the knowledge, the new script that we need to develop to provide the people with, and the women at risk with. So at least if she's safe or she's getting the best health care that she can get, but the best part of it is how can she be an advocate for the change of her children, the girls who are coming, the new generation which is coming out, those who are going to be at risk of coming. So I think there is a lot that they can do, but they should be doing it, or I think they should not be doing it as an excluded group or a segregated group. Because if I am doing my job as a nurse or a midwife or a doctor or whatever health service I am providing, when I work on these issues, I should take this hat out and put the hat of I am a mother or a father or a member of a family or a member of a community. In this sense, I will be doing professional work in addition to a community, a catalyst for change.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
So this is from the social perspective how I see it,
Yes, absolutely. No, I think it's very important. I'm glad to hear it. So the next question is a little bit. So any question, if you think it doesn't apply to your area, it's fine to decline. But so the next one, what do you think healthcare providers might need to know about sexual function for women with FGM?
Although I'm not a medical doctor, but what I know, from experience, I'm an old woman now. I think the healthcare providers need to not only to know, but they need to have their, dynamics of change in their minds or change of mind, how sexuality is influenced by the interruptions we do to the sexual organs of the female, the genitalia of the females. And because as I said earlier, the sociocultural perspective is that cupping is good for sexuality. And this is how a grandmother or a mother or an auntie or friends or whoever is taking the culture and spreading it or transmitting it, part of which are the health providers, that sexually it will be more, satisfying when there is cupping, there is stitching, there is hard, sexuality, harshful, like harsh and harmful. Without saying harmful, it's enjoyable because it is hard. So that the kind of values that, people carry, in the culture, including the health providers, is that sexuality is so and so. But I think what needs to be a new also script or knowledge base for even health providers and health service providers, even including medical doctors, is how far their knowledge, their scientific knowledge, transforms, the attitudes themselves. Like, if I know that the best scenario for a woman is to be a salima, is to be intact, is to be fully fledged or the genitalia, then I need, as a professional, to know the function of each of these organs, not only to learn it by heart, but also to put it in my mind as part of changing my attitude towards that organ. Because this organ has a function, and this function should not be distracted by any intervention. And if I know them scientifically, I would be an advocate of how this knowledge about the goodness of a female genitalia has been created by God, how that is the best scenario for a woman to reproduce and to have sex and to have a good reproductive life. So as a professional or as a health provider, I need to know exactly the physiology and the function and how far any interruption to any of those will actually affect the women's right to enjoyment of her sex, the woman's right or the female right to protect her genitalia, and the woman's right to have equal and sexual pleasure. So even the intention of cutting, which is most of our society, is basically that the enjoyment is for the men. This needs to be reshuffled and rethought, and only the health providers, they are the only people who can do this manuscript and send it out as a professional, very scientific, very well authenticated knowledge to everybody, to any normal body, because for long times and long ages, the health providers have engaged and fully engaged in showing the harms of cutting, not the goodness of uncutting, the goodness of being salima.
Oh no. The phone call disconnected. I'm recalling. Hello.
Yeah?
I'm so sorry, that was my phone disconnected. I'm back.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know where did you stop.
I heard your very strong statement that healthcare providers need to not only talk about the harm of cutting, but the goodness of not cutting, the goodness of the normal as God made her.
Yeah. So this is the kind of change or shift we expect, that if we are talking about change and about giving a good health service, we need to review what we used to talk about. Yeah, these are basics. The ABCs of FGM are very well known. They are very well recited by everyone. Ask a child, or ask a mother or a grandmother or a father or whoever in the community. What are the harms of FGM? They will just recite it to you like they are reciting a holy book. They know it very well. They will say from 1 to 20, and they have all the problems. Short term, medium term, long term problems, all kinds of harm. Everybody learn them by heart. And they can even say them much more than even a health provider can say. Because they have repeatedly got that from the professionals, from the research results, from the images, from the pictures they have seen, from the kind of negative communication that used to be sent out top down in all the posters, in all the booklets, in all